Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well, and welcome on in to Nashville's Morning News. Colder today, mostly sunny, though, a high of 35. I believe, Joan, I have not heard anything regarding ice or slick roadways anywhere, so if you want to go out and vote in the 7th, go ahead.
It's a great time to get out right now if your polling place is open. So what I've learned is that some of them are open at 7, some are open at 8, some are open at 9. So you got to check before you go.
But they all close at 7 o'clock tonight.
Correct.
So we're talking to Jonathan Fahey about this lethal double tap where you've got these two guys. I'm not laughing. You got these two guys. Their boat has just been blown up.
Yeah.
They're clinging to the wreckage, and here comes, and of course they're surrounded, I'm sure, by the drugs that were in their boat. And then here comes a second missile and takes him out.
Yeah.
And so, again, I said my piece on this yesterday, whether it was Hegseth or it was one of the generals under him. Bottom line is, my opinion is they deserve to die. And somebody brought up this point to me yesterday, and it is a great point. I think you and I spoke about this, Joan, where are they getting these people in Venezuela to sail these boats? I mean,
maybe they just don't monitor news there.
Maybe that's what
Venezuela.
It is. Maybe they don't know that they're heading for certain death. But anyway, So you heard Jonathan Fahey point out Obama's drone strikes. I had forgotten how many innocent people he killed.
Yeah. I
mean, it's hundreds, thousands, depending on who you listen to. And so the Bureau of Investigative Journalism, they talk about total deaths from Obama's drone strikes, 563 of them, 11,716. And civilian deaths, you had up towards 1,000. So it depends on how you categorize the deaths and whatever. But the bottom line is that I don't think these two Venezuelans that were on a drug boat, you can call them narco-terrorists, but, I mean, they deserve to die. They're trying to bring drugs into our country, and those drugs were going to or very well could kill people. So I don't have an issue with this. Now, I realize there are certain laws, but, I mean, okay, so where were these Democrats when Obama was drone striking funerals and killing children? Which, by the way, Sam, when was that?
Yeah, the Yemen strike in 2009 killed 55, 21 of which were children. Multiple double tap strikes hit rescuers and funerals, adding an additional 70 civilian deaths.
Yeah, Donald Trump, ultimately the buck stops with Donald Trump. It is his policy. So Trump takes out a couple of narco-terrorists in a double tap, and suddenly he's a bad guy, but they had nothing to say about Obama. But I'm going to be fair. There were Democrats who had a problem with what Obama was doing as well. So, hey, you were playing, Joan, real quick. You were playing that short cut of Afton Bain on with Casey Hunt. Is that her name?
Casey Hunt on CNN.
On CNN. Mm-hmm. You had a little version provided to you by ABC News. I've got the longer cut.
Oh, you do?
Oh, my goodness. It is awkward.
Oh, I love it.
So this is a minute 34 on this election day for the 7th Congressional District. Do you know what I'm noticing? And you folks that are watching on Super Talk TV, I'm going to describe it for you. But Cassie Hunt is she's got a look on her face like somebody farted in the elevator.
See, I was going to go the other direction. I thought you were going to talk about the smugness from the lady in the striped sweater.
Well, yeah, Afton Bain, she does have a certain smugness about her, but I think the point that I'm going to make is that I don't think the Democrats are really sold on Afton Bain. I mean, there's a reason why Kamala Harris did not endorse her. There's a reason why AOC and Jasmine Crockett and Al Gore, they basically phoned it in, right? They phoned in their teletown halls with Afton Bain as opposed to flying in. And as far as I know, the town hall with Matt Van Epps, I mean, you had both of the senators there. You had a lot of other folks there as well. Matter of fact, coming up, I've got some audio from Donald Trump. He did not fly into Tennessee. However, you also had earlier this week, or I think it was last week, J.D. Vance was out in Clarksville with Matt Van Epps. So the Republicans are clearly standing by Matt Van Epps as a person they are proud to endorse. Is that the same with Afton Bain? I don't think that it is. And so this is Ole Afton, and she is on CNN. And basically the question was, is there anything that Kamala Harris, and correct me if I'm wrong, Joan, the question was, is there anything that Kamala Harris did that you disagree with? Is that what the question was?
Any of her policy positions that Afton Bain is opposed to.
All right, here, listen.
Are there any policies that the party's presidential nominee, Kamala Harris, held that you disagree with?
Honestly, haven't thought about it. I've got 24 hours to, I don't mean to be flippant, but I have 24 hours to win this race. And
I don't think she's being flippant. I think she's just not smart. Or she's lying. Yeah. She refuses to answer actually pretty basic policy questions. And I think that should worry everyone. I mean, it doesn't worry the left because blue no matter who, right? And do you know what's interesting? And then I'm going to play the let me play the rest of it. This is more Afton Bain.
All I've been thinking about is talking to every last voter possible at the doors and trying to make my case as to why I am the best candidate. Once again, this race is close because not only have we mobilized lots of Democratic voters, but there are independents and Republicans that are upset with the chaos of Washington. And
Can I just say this, is that she can't look the camera in the eye. This is one thing.
This is super telling.
This is one thing that I've noticed about this audio bite, and a few folks listening on the radio, thank you. Just so you know, she cannot look the camera in the eye. She's looking off to her left, and I don't know if she is trying to figure out what the heck to say, and so her eyes are just darting around, or if she knows that she's lying. And so she can't look the camera in the eye because perhaps she's a terrible liar. But I mean, Democrats are usually pretty good liars. But that's part of what I'm noticing is she can't look the camera in the eye.
Yeah, psychology would dictate that she's literally looking for an answer.
Here's more.
I want to see someone who will be part of the solution, not part of the problem.
But there's no policy you would identify that, again, the party's presidential nominee held that you do not agree with.
Once again, policy positions are, I'm trying to make life more affordable for Tennesseans. I really haven't thought about it just because I've been so fixated on winning this race and trying to lower costs for Tennessee families. Healthcare has been a major issue in this race. I got my start as a community organizer, raising awareness about Medicaid cuts to rural hospitals. And unfortunately, with the passage of the big ugly bill, Medicaid cuts are imminent. And so, like I said, I'm just trying to win this race. I've been super focused and fixated on talking to every voter possible to get to the polls as polls will open at 7 a.m. tomorrow.
So what's interesting is that I find it hard to believe that somebody, if I decided to run for Congress, for example, Lord help us, but if I ever decided to run for Congress, I would have my policy initiatives pretty dialed in. And if there was something that I disagreed with, the leader of my party, supposedly Kamala Harris, if there's something that I disagreed with them on, I would find an artful way to talk about that disagreement. But to sit here and tell, her spin really is that I haven't really thought about it. Does anybody buy that? Do you buy that, Joan?
No.
I don't buy it.
I don't buy it, but did you see what she was doing? In that response, if you want to rewind it, she has got her points right next to her on the table in the corner. She's looking down out of the corner of her eye every time she goes to answer, just about, to get back to her points that she has right next to her. I'm assuming her computer.
I see what you're saying. She's looking down at the lower left-hand part of her desk.
Yeah,
is what you're saying.
Yeah, she puts her tongue in her cheek as soon as she gets asked this question.
Once again, policy positions are, I'm trying to make life more affordable.
She keeps
for
looking to her
I
left.
I really haven't thought about it just because I've been
looking
so
down.
fixated on winning this race and trying to
there it
lower
goes.
costs
Looking
for
down,
Tennessee
looking down.
families.
I don't know.
She has to have lower costs for Tennessee families written out.
Maybe she's got the answers like written on her arm.
It's what it's honestly starting to look like. Is that one kid that was unprepared for the quiz?
Mm-hmm.
And you're looking over and I can't tell. It's all smudging now.
One of the other things that, and I'm going to say this, because there's a lot have been made about Republicans, and we're talking about left versus right, and how you have Republicans, they're not sold on Matt Van Epps, and they're not going to vote for the lesser of two evils. So when you have the Democrats, and I believe that they are clearly not sold on Afton Bain, which is why they're literally phoning in these teletown halls, right? So, but they're blue no matter who. So they're going to support Afton Bain regardless. I would say this for the Republicans who are not sold on Matt Van Epps, even though I disagree with them deciding just not to vote. At the very least, at least clearly, and we've always said this about Republicans, we have our own minds. And if, by and large, if we're not happy with a candidate to the point where we're not going to vote for somebody, we have an open mind in the sense that we are willing to just say, no, we're not going to compromise our vote. We're going to stay home. And so the Democrats, again, not sold on Afton Bain, kind of sort of lukewarm, sort of embracing her and endorsing her, but not taking the next step to fly all the way into Tennessee to support her. You had Al Gore, and I guess he was on the phone. You had AOC, and that was also, I guess, probably zoomed in or whatever it was. And you had Jasmine Crockett. She, of course, was also just a big old Zoom call.
The shoe closet.
Yes, in the shoe closet. That's exactly right. So I don't think the Democrats are sold on Afton Bain, because if they truly felt like they had a chance at flipping this dead red seat, I think that they would actually be here in person in Middle Tennessee. By the way, Afton Bain was out there talking sort of about the issues yesterday.
The barrage of negative attacks is a result of the fact that they don't have a plan to address the rising cost of health care. The negativity is ongoing.
Could it possibly be, Afton Bain, that the negativity is because you have been calling our side? You called Donald Trump, of course, a white supremacist and a bigot, and I think racist bigot and all that kind of stuff. So you have been personally attacking our side for years now. And I could say the same thing about you. And given the fact that you actually refuse to answer questions about your policies and the actual issues that people do care about, like defunding the police, for example, it seems like you don't have any ideas, really. You keep talking about how, okay, what we're going to do is, we're going to lower the cost of health care. Really? Can you tell me how? And they'll tell you they want single payer. That's what the Democrats want. They don't have a plan to lower health care. Their big plan is, let's just have single payer like Canada. That's what their big plan is, which, by the way, isn't much of a plan.
Personal attacks are escalating because they don't have a plan. And we've said from the beginning, this is a campaign about addressing the affordability crisis in the state of Tennessee, and I have not seen any solutions or remedies from their side. Which
is kind of weird because, again, the personal attacks are based on the things that you have said about the state of Tennessee. These aren't just random comments, that people on our side have made. No. We're talking about the fact that she has bullied ICE agents. We're talking about the fact that you hate Nashville. You hate country music, which is your right to hate country music. You talked about how your parents have called Tennessee a God-forsaken state, and you seem to agree with them. You refuse to answer the simplest of questions regarding defunding the police, and you've spoken about the evils of parenthood and how you think that women who have kids are part of the patriarchy that is Tennessee. So these aren't personal attacks. These are reactions to the things, Afton Bain, that you have said, that you have talked about. And by the way, Republicans do have plans for health care. Guess who keeps getting in the way? You're right. It's the Democrats. It is 7:23 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Talking about, real quick, you can go ahead and play that. You've got Cheatham County is now open. Davidson County is now open. Dixon County, Montgomery County, Robertson County, Williamson County, all of those are open now. You've got Wayne County, Stewart County. You've got Hickman County all opening up at 8 a.m. Benton County and also Decatur open at 8 a.m. 9 a.m. You've got Houston County and Humphreys County and Perry County open at 9 a.m. So, and everybody closes at 7. Get out and vote. Joan, we're talking about the poly market again.
Uh-oh.
Because, the poly market, you've got the Emerson polling. And I don't know if there's been any other polling other than the Emerson polling. Maybe there was, and I just haven't seen it. I'm not really buying the polling, to be perfectly honest. And we talked about.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I don't buy it. But so the poly market is like people who bet on sports, right? I knew, not sports, but politics. And so I knew a guy that bet on politics. He's a friend of mine, Ross. And I don't know if he's betting on the 7th. I don't even know if he still does it. But people do this. And so I would be more willing to bet that the more accurate polling, if you will, would be what's going on the poly market, because those people, they don't care about politics. The only thing they care about is making money. And so they want to win the bet. The poly market is showing that Afton Bain is going to lose and lose bigly. So what are they saying, Sam?
So just on the clarification, poly market is the leading crypto-based prediction market. So it's specifically using that crypto coin. And it's got Van Epps with an 87% implied probability of winning, which means Afton Bain is at a 13% chance. Then if you look at Kalshi, which is a regulated prediction market, it's at 85% implied probability for Matt Van Epps' victory and a 16% implied probability for Afton Bain.
So clearly the bettors believe that Matt Van Epps is going to win.
Yeah, if you want the money line, Matt Van Epps minus 615. So if you bet $615, you're only going to win 100. And if you bet on Afton Bain, who's a plus 669 long shot, bet $100 to win $669. For those are your odds from the traditional sense. All
right, so real quick, because Afton Bain and some people on the super text line asking the questions as well. One of her big things is Republicans don't have any ideas on how to solve the problems of healthcare, right? So a couple of things just real quick, and I know that you folks have heard me say this before. I would like the Republicans to come up with some ideas as well, but they do have ideas. But remember, the Democrats are blocking them at every turn, because what the Democrats want is Afton Bain's idea. Afton Bain's idea of health care for Americans and a health care that would work for America is single payer, furnished by the government, and illegal aliens get all of the health care that they want, along with all of the migrants and everybody else that is in this country. Everybody gets health care, right? And it's health care that, frankly, is going to suck. And we'll have massive tax increases as well. Now, one of the things that Republicans want to do, or many things that Republicans want to do, they want to, because remember, Afton Bain says that Republicans have no ideas on how to improve health care. Well, clean up the waste and fraud in Obamacare. That is a big one, and Republicans have been talking about that for a long time. And sure, this is what Republicans want to do. Ensure that illegal aliens are not getting benefits from the government. That should help lower the cost for everyone. Implement work requirements for eligibility. That is a good thing. Redirect billions of dollars in subsidies to individual health savings accounts, or HSAs. That's something else that the Republicans want to do. They want to increase competition among insurance agencies as well. So these are all things that the Republicans want to do. Now, are these all the end-all, be-all of fixing Obamacare? I don't know, because Obamacare is an absolute train wreck. But remember, Obamacare is the Democrats' mess. So for Afton Bain and all these Democrats to say, oh, the Republicans don't have any ideas. Well, so it's now our problem to fix their problem? I mean, obviously, we want to do what we can to fix health care, but they're the ones that shanked it in the first place with Obamacare. There needs to be affordable plans for working families. And right now, there just is none. Right now, if you have no income or you're extremely poor, then Obamacare works because guess what? You get it for free. But most working folks who don't have insurance are having to pay massive amounts of money for coverage that is both ill-fitting for their needs and expensive. Really expensive. But these are all things that the Republicans have wanted to do and do want to do and are doing. And by the way, don't forget that President Trump has capped drug prices, including insulin. He's also executive ordered drug makers to match the lowest foreign prices across the world to match the most favored nation pricing. Remember all that? So the Republicans want to do and have done and could still do very actionable things that will bring down the cost of health care. But remember, the Democrats, all they want to do, and again, putting aside the fact that the Democrats are the ones that caused this mess in the first place with Obamacare, she wants to continue the COVID-era subsidies. Now, these were subsidies that were placed during COVID, but they were always set to expire. Because here's the thing. The subsidies are masking a broken system. The Democrats are the ones that broke it. So when you see that the rates will go up if the subsidies go away, I understand that is a great talking point for the left, but these subsidies were never meant to be permanent. The other thing is throwing subsidies at the problem doesn't fix the problem of Obamacare. It masks the problem. The problem is Obamacare. And so basically her answer on health care, it's not an answer. Her answer basically is subsidize everything and put everyone on single payer, including, by the way, illegal aliens on these plans. And the big problem that we have with health care, and this is a big problem, is that Congress is so divided on this issue that everything the Republicans want to do, it is impossible to do. Which then brings up the whole conversation about eliminating or nuking the filibuster. The Democrats are the ones that forced Obamacare on Americans. Now they realize it is a complete mess. They've even admitted it. But they're accusing the Republicans of wanting to starve children if they dare try and fix it. That's the problem. That's the problem that Americans have. That's the real truth about Obamacare and which side broke it and which side is truly wanting to fix it. The Republicans are really, truly wanting to fix it. The Democrats are fighting them at every turn. Republicans have ideas. Are they great? Are they perfect? No. I think some of the ideas are really good, but are their solutions collectively perfect? No. But you're dealing with an imperfect situation. It is a terrible situation. And I don't know for the Republicans if they're trying to fix this Obamacare and they're trying to make health care affordable. These are all actionable steps. Kick off the illegal aliens, lower the drug prices, increase competition. These are all very solid ideas. By the way, Pramila Jayapal was part of this whole tele town hall thing that they did yesterday, also phoning it in. Sam brings up during the break, and it's a great point, that Democrats want trans surgeries for kids with that single payer. So it's a great talking point for Afton Bain to say, oh, Republicans have no ideas on how to lower health costs. I just gave you like 8 or 9 actionable things that Republicans want to do or have tried to do or have done to lower the cost of health care. But they can only do so much because Obamacare itself is an albatross. And yeah, they want illegal aliens to be on that single payer. And yeah, they want you and I, through our taxpayer dollars, to pay for the trans surgeries for overall people and for minors as well. So I'm sorry, but I'm not buying that talking point, and neither should you. Here's Pramila Jayapal.
Al Gore said it really well when he was describing what is happening in Congress. This is not a moment for the weak-kneed and the cautious. This is a moment for courageous fighters like Afton, who has spent her whole life making a difference in people's lives. She's in this for all the right reasons. I had the same reaction as Alexandria did when I spoke to her, just to really understand how deeply committed she is to actually lowering healthcare costs for people who are right now facing this completely unaffordable healthcare situation in this country, thanks to Republicans' big bad betrayal bill.
Big bad betrayal bill. Okay.
Whatever.
Yeah, you know what, Joan? Whatever.
Is a proud sponsor of Medicare for All. She wants to make sure.
Did you hear that? Medicare for All. They want single payer.
Rural hospitals don't shut down.
So that is Pramila Jayapal. So once again, this argument that Republicans want to destroy these rural hospitals, it is ridiculous. So these rural hospitals are heavily subsidized. The Republicans want to make these hospitals more efficient. And the Republicans call these transformation plans. You stabilize these hospitals, you work with them to become more efficient, and you work with the states to fix the problems versus just throwing money at the problems.
Yeah, and it's not just the efficiency. There is a lack in certain parts of the country, and I can even say here locally, where you've got ERs that don't have a doctor on staff at all times. They have a physician's assistant running things. And that's part of it when you're running off of subsidies. You can't afford, the top tier out in Macon County or out in Henry County or something.
I think that the Democrats, and I want to bottom line this because nobody wants to hear me drone on and on about health care, but I get frustrated when this talking point is out there. And I do hear Republicans say that they're not happy with what the Trump administration is doing because, President Trump, in fairness, he did run on repeal and replace, and they didn't get that done, right? They took away the mandates, and that's good. But right now, it is just Obamacare is so woven into our country. I like what President Trump said, which is he says he wants to make Obamacare better. And throwing money at a problem never solves the problem. And by the way, can somebody tell me, and maybe there is one, I'm going to be fair here. Joan, can you name one governmental agency that actually runs efficiently and runs well? Because that's what Pramila Jayapal and Afton Bain and all of these Democrats want. They want government-funded health care where everybody is on it. And I'm sorry, but if you're going to put the government in charge of, in charge of health care with like single payer, well, then you know what's going to happen. It's going to turn into even more of a train wreck than it already is. Our government couldn't manage its way out of a paper bag. You think they can handle, single payer? No.
And have you ever walked into a government-run business that the people were welcoming, helpful, can't wait to get out of their seat to make sure that you've got whatever it is that you need?
You ever walk in, no offense to the people at like the
DMV.
The DMV.
Yeah.
But, that is a great example.
Having said that, when my husband and I came here to the DMV, we went in and the people were terrific, terrific. Compared to New Jersey, these people were golden. But
California's DMV? Holy mackerel.
Yeah.
Colorado's DMV?
Yeah.
That's a great point. You have some of these blue state DMVs. Oh, my goodness gracious. They're awful.
Yep.
They are awful.
You want a place that runs efficiently? Just make them have a boss that they have to answer to.
Accountability.
All the workers. Accountability. Yeah, absolutely.
That's exactly right.
I'll say that the people here probably better than in the blue states, but when it comes to the efficiency, I had to drive all the way out to Union City, Tennessee, which is about almost 4 hours west to go get my license as a teenager. It's the only place I could get it for months as far as going to take the test. So if you want your doctor's appointments to be like that.
Right. Just let's go a single payer. Here's more.
This is a heavily Republican district. So why are Republicans having to spend so much money there? CNN chief data analyst Harry Enton is here with the details. When I say this is a Republican district, Harry, how Republican?
So this is Harry Enton, and they're talking about, obviously, the 7th and some of the things that have been going on in this district and across the country.
Is a ruby red Republican district, John Berman. What are we talking about? Well, why don't we just take a look at the past 3 presidential elections in the great state of Tennessee, in the 7th district, in that great state. Look at Trump's margins. In 2016, he won it by 17 points. 2020, 15 points. And then in 2024, Johnny B, takes the cake here. We get Donald Trump winning by 22 points. That's why I say even a close GOP win tomorrow is a bad sign for them, because what we're dealing with is a district that all 3 times that Donald Trump was on the ballot in the general election, he won it by double digits. And last time, he broke the 20-point margin barrier.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about up 22. That's why everybody is making such a big deal about this. The hyper focus on this race, as we've all talked about, it's the only game in town. And because it's such a Trump-friendly state and a Trump-friendly district, there's a lot of focus on it. And so, again, Harry Enton from CNN says that Republicans are having to spend a lot of money to protect that seat, which is fine. Republicans have a lot to lose, and the Democrats, really, they're going for broke, right? They have nothing to lose. This is already a seat that has been Republican. It is expected to stay Republican as well. And we were talking about this earlier, that I don't really believe the Emerson polling. We broke all that down the other day. I actually believe that the poly market is going to be more indicative of what is going to happen in the 7th congressional district. So anyway, I didn't mean to go on to a big, long thing about Obamacare and what the Democrats have done to health care in this country. I would refer you back. A couple of weeks ago, we interviewed, it was really good, actually. We interviewed an expert on Obamacare and health care from the Heritage Foundation. I think we podcast that. And so if you want to find out more information on what the Republicans have done, could do, and want to do, but are being blocked by the Democrats, go check out that interview. It's more than likely on our podcast page. Just scroll down from a couple of weeks ago.